breakfast. This one is being recorded on the road. We're in Dayton, Ohio. I'm actually at the U.S. Air Force Museum, which is really, really cool. This week, we just went to recon and at the Miami University in Oxford, so that's going on right now as we're doing this. There is no week in review this week because we did fewer reviews last week, so I'm just going to combine it and do a double-sized week in review next week. But that's not what's important right now. Let's get to the news. Hey everybody, real quick before we get to the news, I want to point out a couple things. First of all, for some reason, our microphone wasn't working, and so the sound's going to be a little off here, and because we didn't bring a camera to recon, well, I just basically have the phone, but I wanted to get Board Game Breakfast up for you. So just to let you know why some of the footage is the way it is. But also, there's a couple big things. First of all, Dice Tower Con. Don't forget about it. It's coming up. We're down to the last couple hundred tickets. So if you want to get a ticket for that, it's a fantastic convention. Go to dicetowercon.com. Secondly, the Dice Tower Cruise. Registration is now open to the public. Over half the tickets are already gone from people who came in previous years, but now you can go to dicetowercruise.com and find out the information on how you get your ticket. It's going to be amazing. A year from now in February, but it's fantastic. Don't delay. And then finally, if you backed us on the Kickstarter, the Pledge Manager will be going out for sure this week. We are finished up with it. It will go out hopefully today, tomorrow, somewhere around there. So keep an eye out for that. If you want to get involved in that and you weren't able to, then email me at tom@dicetower.com. Okay, now let's get to the news. Okay, so first in the news, we have from Hasbro. They're starting HasLab. This is their own crowdfunding style thing. It looks like they're going to do one thing at a time. Right now they're doing a Jabba's sail barge for $500. They need 5,000 people. It's 2.5 million. But over the time I looked at it, 1,500 people had signed up. So what does that have to do with board games? Will they do board games? Maybe they'll bring back Star Wars Queen's Gambit this way? Probably not, but we can hope. Okay, Games Workshop has some new board games that they're doing. First, they have Blitz Bowl. This is like a dumbed-down version of Blood Bowl, a quicker version. I'm on board with that. And then Space Marine, something which I can't read here in the light, but I'm sure you can see a picture here. It's a thing where you're going to go through, and it's like a Necron labyrinth where you go through. So it looks like kind of a dungeon crawl. Arcane Wonders is a new game called Senshi. This is from Dan Manfrendi. Your warrior monks. It looks a little abstracted, but it has that Japanese flavor to it. It's a smallish style game. Sagrada has a 5 to 6 player expansion coming, and because that could make the game longer with that many people, they're also adding something called a private dice pool, where you'll have your own dice pools, I guess, to pull from. Duelosaur Island. This is a game which is based on Dinosaur Island, but it's for 2 players. It looks like a very similar style game. This one will be coming out from IDW. Justice League Dice Masters. There's several sets of that, a campaign box, and some more team packs coming. So even though you might think Dice Masters is not around, there's still more stuff coming. I was just at a store the other day, and there's a ton of things there. The Cannes Game Festival is going on, and they announced their gaming awards. Their game of the year was Azul. Their strategy game of the year was Terraforming Mars, and their kids game was Outfoxed. Renegade is making a game called Wonderland. This is for International Tabletop Day. In fact, as far as I can tell, on April 28th, which is when International Tabletop Day is, this is the only time you can get the game at all, which seems odd. I would assume the game can't be that great if they would not have it for more than that one day. But who knows? This is, I don't know. I don't know what, you guys tell me in the comments what you think of that. The designer is Daniel Salas, and the artist is Beth Sobel, who's a great artist, by the way. Hasbro has announced 2 new things: a Transformers trading card game. Okay, I'm not a big fan of the trading card game thing necessarily, but I do like Transformers. And Axis and Allies Zombies, because we so needed that. I'm sure that's going to sell like a lot, and I'll probably buy it myself because I'm just curious about it. All right, well, that's the regular news. Let's head over to Kickstarter.
Everybody. If you're prone to kind of impulse backing of projects, then now is probably a good time to not look at Kickstarter, because a ton of really cool projects launched last week. And I know that there are a lot of really neat projects coming up in the very near future as well. So if you have to look away this episode, I completely understand. For everyone else, let's get going. Kami-sama has players taking on the role of spirits or kami trying to spread their influence. You'll earn village tokens by matching shrine patterns, earn villagers and their abilities as you control villages, and other kami shrines impact you as you travel between villages, which is managed through a quarter rotation of the round board. Kami-sama blends a number of different game mechanisms and has really vibrant art. There are 2 different expansions, one included and one available as an add-on. And to get Kami-sama with the included Awakened expansion, you'll have to pledge $42 plus shipping. Space Park asks the question, what if there were national parks in space? You'll be traveling around to different cosmic locations and will earn badges for your adventures to become the galaxy's next great explorer. Different locations provide different actions like gaining crystals or using those crystals to gain badges, which give you endgame points. But the trick is that there are rockets that block locations and they move each turn, so planning your actions is really key to victory. Space Park features some really amazing looking sci-fi art by the Orland Culture Shop, and you can get a copy of the game for $29. The Big Score is a heist game played out in 2 acts. First, you and your fellow crime bosses recruit your crew in a card draft and then assign them to one of the jobs. If cumulatively the job is successful, there's a payout, but job failure costs you. Figuring out how to spread out your team for the maximum reward is a core part of the game, but you can also train your crew members instead, which reduces your earlier heist payouts but can provide a special ability in Act 2. In that second act, there's a push your luck and bluffing element as you draw tokens for loot, but risk getting nabbed by the cops. There's an optional Crack the Safe expansion available, but a copy of the Big Score base game takes a pledge of $34 plus shipping. Master of Respect is a game being kickstarted by Hobby Japan, which is a long-standing publisher in Asia, but hasn't developed a huge Western following yet. This edition of Master of Respect has been updated with all new art and updated mechanisms as you work to grow your dojo by gaining respect. You use asymmetric skill tokens to give orders to your students, and you can gain more students that will let you perform more actions, but you have to be cautious because untrained students give you negative points until you train them. You can give respect tokens to opponents that let you copy their unique actions, but it also gives them respect points. And at the end of the round, you have a tournament in which each player has a student compete, and you can earn points by winning, but you'll exhaust the skill token that's used for the next round. A copy of Master Respect takes a pledge of 3,000 yuan, which is about $28 US. New publisher Cosmodrome Games is kickstarting Pandorum, a light hand management and building game with a cosmic setting. Pandorum is the resource-rich planet that players are vying to colonize and control. Cards provide points based on module placement, but they also provide the movement that you need to get around to the different hexes to build. The modular board has different terrain types that sync with the different card types, and when used to build, cards can be added to your harvester to provide additional bonuses. There's an optional Discovery expansion, but you can get the base game of Pandorum with some included promos for $49 plus shipping. And last but not least, City of Gears is a game designed by Chris Leader and Daryl Andrews in which you're working to uncover and control a steampunk metropolis. Using worker placement, you'll discover tiles or activate them. Dice generate resources that let you move around more swiftly, boot out other opponents, workers, or more. And you can also gain those important gears, which can be used as a development, which gives you new player powers, or as links that create bridges between the different areas. With the engine building element, activated tiles can trigger combos if they're linked in a path, and at the end of the game, gears and workers count towards area control for prestige points. There's a Founders Edition of the game that includes custom wooden bits, but the base game of City of Gears takes a pledge of $49 plus shipping. Alrighty, that's all I've got for you this episode, but a ton more is coming very, very soon. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week.
Hello guys, I am Cardboard Rhino and welcome to Rhino Says Yes. Today I have here with me a beloved two-player game which is the baby of two great game designers. It's Raptor. Raptor is a card-driven board game with tactical play and some double guessing. One player is on Mama Raptor's side, who has escaped together with her 5 baby raptors. The other player moves a team of scientists who must neutralize the Mama Raptor and capture her babies before they run wild into the forest. Players use their cards with numbers 1 to 9 to control their pawns. Every round, players choose and reveal one card simultaneously. The player who played the lowest ranked card can use the corresponding action of the card, while his opponent has action points to spend equal to the difference between the two cards' values. The Raptor and the Scientist have different actions available, both on their cards and on the action points to spend. The Scientist, in general, can use fire, can move by jeep on the tracks, can shoot the Mama Raptor, can try to capture the babies, and can also call for reinforcements. The Mama Raptor can hide in the bushes and act after the Scientist, can yell to frighten them, she can call for her babies, put down fires, and so on. The Raptor player wins if 3 baby raptors have escaped or if there are no more scientists on the board. The Scientist player wins if the mother has 5 sleep tokens or if 3 baby raptors have been put to sleep and captured. Raptor is a very enjoyable game of cat and mouse where the roles change all the time. It's very delicately balanced and it's a very good introduction to asymmetrical play where each player has different types of things they can do in their turn. The challenge with this game is to be able to stay unpredictable enough while guessing correctly the other player's moves and playing your cards at the right time. I personally love the old school style of the game art-wise, and when it comes to the feel of the game design, it has something cozy to it. So Rhino says yes to Raptor. You should definitely give it a try.
For the Dice Tower this week, well, there is going to be basically just a lot of reviews. We're going to do another top 10 list, and we have there's a new kind of video that we're going to be doing, so you have to see that. I'm also going to be posting Dice Tower FAQ. A lot of questions that I get asked all the time. I'll be doing a live Q&A probably sometime later today, so you can come and keep an eye on that. And the podcast, there's just a lot of different little videos that you're going to see from different reviewers and different things. I'll be doing a couple more Best of Designers stuff. So just keep an eye out for all the different things that we post on our channel this week, especially the top 10 list coming out later. Let's keep moving.
Hi, Mike Felicio from Solomode Games. Recently I went on the Dice Tower Facebook group, and if you haven't joined that yet, you really need to hop on it. It's a great place. And I posted there about a new segment I want to start called Talking About Gaming Solo. I was going to call it Talking About Solo Gaming, but I really wanted to have an acronym. That's a tag. In my post, I asked people to comment about anything that they thought they'd be interested in for solo gaming, questions, comments, suggestions, and here's a couple that stood out to me. The first post is from Jacob Welsh, and he says, I am not a solo gamer, but I would like to hear more about if you play any video games and what reasons you'd prefer solo board gaming over video gaming. For me, the setup and teardown time for solo board gaming is a deterrent, and so I'd rather play video games solo. So, change my view. Well, Jacob, here goes. I don't play video games as much as I used to when I was younger. I still do play on occasion, but I do think it's interesting that there's not the negative connotation with solo gaming in the video games like there is sometimes with board games. There's almost an expectation that video games are in some ways meant to be played solo, whereas board games are not. I honestly enjoy the setup and teardown of solo gaming. There's almost a ritual to it, as odd as that may sound. It can be kind of contemplative to me. It can be almost meditative and soothing, depending on the game, of course. The next comment is from Stephen Hocktail, and apologies if I butchered the name, but he says, I sit at work a lot of the time having nothing to do. I would love some suggestion on solo board games that are portable and can fit at a desk. Right now, all I have are the Onirim series, which are great games, but would love to expand my collection. If you have any recommendations, that would be great. Honestly, there were some great recommendations that were put on that post itself. The Caverna Cave vs. Cave is a great one. I would mention maybe Mintworks for a nice worker placement game in a small package. And if you liked Friday, which you mentioned, maybe Finished, which is the new solo-only game from Freedom and Freeze. And the bonus is it has a work theme, so it might actually play into that really well. Thanks everybody for the great contributions. Keep sending them in so we can keep talking about gaming solo. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.
Hey there everyone, it's Jen, the board game librarian, flipping some pages and pushing some cubes with this week's segment From the Page to the Table. I'm looking at a crime noir classic, The Maltese Falcon by Dashiell Hammett. And yeah, this is my library's best copy. I'm sorry. It does look like a dog chewed a page, the front cover right here. It happens. So when I think about the Maltese Falcon, I think, of course, about its main character, Sam Spade. This is one of those defining books in a genre where when you think about the Maltese Falcon, you really get this gritty sense about San Francisco, right? And Sam Spade. And it's almost hard to put the two together away from Humphrey Bogart's portrayal of Sam Spade and the book, of course. Interesting fact about Dashiell Hammett was that he served with the Pinkerton National Detective Agency. And I'll talk more about my personal interest with that agency in another segment someday. So there's a couple of things that could maybe go along with the Maltese Falcon, but one that we've recently discovered and loved a lot has been Deadline. Published by WizKids, 2 to 4 players, 60 minutes, and cooperative. If you're a fan of Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, you'll probably really like Deadline. Those who have problems with Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective because they don't find that it's enough of a game will probably like Deadline more. So you're working together as a team to solve a case. And what's really nice about Deadline is that you need to go to every single location and go to every single clue in your particular case. It also has aspects of The Grizzled where you need to not really talk about specifics. That's all for this week. Enjoy some Deadline.
Howdy folks, welcome to By the Numbers. My name is Hunter Thomason from the Family Showdown. On By the Numbers, we take a look at a numeric board game related topic. This week's topic, what did you back on Kickstarter? Or better yet, hey, look what I backed on Kickstarter. Global board game sales reached $9.6 billion in 2016. Of that $9.6 billion, $1.44 billion is estimated to be related to hobby designer board games. Kickstarter, though, in 2016 brought in $113 million. If you take a look at our handy-dandy chart here, you see that Kickstarter is but a tiny little sliver of board game sales. So why does such a tiny percentage of board game sales attract so much attention? If you look at the hotness over on Board Game Geek, you see that the top 5 games right now are all Kickstarter games. And by hotness, that's the games being talked about and discussed the most. So why does Kickstarter seem to be in the forefront of many board game discussions? Is it a result of some sort of echo chamber? Echo chamber? Echo chamber? Echo chamber? Echo chamber? Echo chamber? We've all heard the cult of the new. Kickstarter is the cult of the not even published yet. Kickstarter is indeed growing. In fact, in 2017, it's estimated to have grown 18%. But that's comparable to most board games. Board games as a whole are growing at a comparable rate. So why is everyone talking about Kickstarter? What did you back on Kickstarter? Down in the comments, leave your opinions on why you think Kickstarter is what everyone's talking about. And maybe I'll feature your comment in a future episode.
Hello and welcome to Tantrum HQ. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Katie. And today we're working on a throwdown. I've got number 9 in the red corner.
And I've got Karuba in the blue corner.
In number 9 by Z-Man Games, players are placing numbered tiles on top of each other to get the most points. Each round, a card is drawn that has a number on it. Every player then simultaneously plays that tile in front of them out of the group of numbered tiles that they have. The higher you can place your tiles, the more points you can get. But there are very specific rules on how you can place those tiles.
In Karuba by Haba, players lead an expedition team in order to navigate their way through the jungles of Karuba to find treasure and be the first to reach the ancient temples. Each round, a common tile is revealed that has a number on it. Every player simultaneously must then either place that number on their board or discard it and move an adventurer based on the tile drawn. Players get points by picking up gold and gems along the way and gathering the treasures in the temple.
So we've just looked at 2 different games that all use the same tiles for everybody when you start. And then there's something that commonly lays them out, so everyone is placing the same tiles at the same time. But your boards will end up looking very different by the end of the game.
Karuba is a 30 to 40 minute game.
And number 9 is only 20 minutes.
This one's for 2 to 4 players.
And this one is 1 to 4.
I've got meeples, tiles, boards, and lots of cool treasure.
And I've got colorful polyominoes.
I think the theme really comes through on this one as I race my explorers to get to the temples as quick as possible.
Well, I've got an abstract strategy game.
I like how I have to use my tiles and decide the different ways I'm going to use them to try to go as quick as possible and collect the most treasure along the way.
I love that mine feels like a real puzzle as you're trying really hard to figure out how to stack and place your tiles.
So who wins this throwdown, Karuba?
Or number 9?
Vote
in the comments.
So, welcome to the cold pizza segment here on Board Game Breakfast. Welcome, breakfasteers. Today I am joined by Roy Cannaday. You may recognize him from Epic Gaming Nite. Now, today I'm going to be asking Roy some tough questions, like, for instance, this one. Now, Roy has no idea. I didn't preset this one at all, much to his chagrin, so let's see how this goes. So, Roy, what are your 5 favorite board game size boxes? Like, if you were to pick like this size and that size, what are your 5 favorite ones?
Awesome. So for my favorite 5 different size boxes is I really only think there should be less size boxes, because you have those small games like tiny epic games and things like that that fit in these tiny little boxes, which are good and portable, and you can have a lot of different things fit in those size boxes, but most games should fit in that Ticket to Ride size box, or if they don't, be just a little bit wider than that. So I'm only giving you 2 because everything should fit in that Ticket to Ride size box. So that way you can fit it on your shelf and it looks good. And it annoys me so much when you have those box sizes that are just a teeny bit bigger than a Ticket to Ride size box, or a teeny bit smaller, and it just put them on the shelf and it doesn't quite fit.
We're looking at you, Simon.
Exactly. It's like, hey,
they just go a little bigger.
And if you're a company who has certain size boxes, try to make all of your size boxes the same at least. Come on, guys. So I can have all of your games on the shelf together and it doesn't look terrible. I mean, some of us like to display our games behind us, as you can kind of see. But yeah, so Ticket to Ride size boxes, and then an extra size box for smaller game sizes that don't need a full Ticket to Ride size box. And then figure out how to make your components fit in there. Then you should be good.
Fair enough. So that is the favorite 5 divided by 3 plus 1, actually, from Roy Cannaday today on the cold pizza. So join us next week when we ask another guest another hard question like, what size game boxes do you love?
Want to supercharge your role-playing experience? Hi, I'm Chris Renshaw from the Boards and Swords podcast, and this is role-playing. Superheroes are a real popular genre in all the other forms of media that we consume. Heck, we just saw Black Panther do awesome at the theaters this past couple of weekends, but you don't really see or hear a lot of people talk about them in role-playing games as much. It's not one of the big popular genres like fantasy and sci-fi. For board gamers out there, Greater Than Games, publisher of Sentinels of the Multiverse, has released recently the Sentinel Comics role-playing game starter kit. This is based in the same world as Sentinels of the Multiverse and allows you to play as some of the heroes in that universe. If you want to play a game in a more established comic book universe, then check out Mutants and Masterminds, which is a game set up from Green Ronin, and they've got a licensed version for DC, and I believe they have one for Marvel as well. Another popular one is from Magpie Games, and that is Mask: A New Generation. This is more, I think, your Teen Titans-esque sort of superhero game where you're all playing teenage heroes that have just stumbled onto their powers. And then lastly, but ironically, there's Unmasked from, this is a Cypher System supplement that just came out recently that is a very similar premise to the Magpie Games one. Imagine Teen Titans mixed with Stranger Things. So there you go, there's a bunch of options for you for if you want to do some superhero stunts in your games, whether it be kicking and punching, running around at super speed, firing off blasts of energy. But what's your favorite superpower? What would you like to play in a superhero game? Let me know down in the comments below. And make sure to follow me all over the place on social media, and feel free to ask me any sort of role-playing game questions. I love talking and answering them. So, thanks for watching, and in the meantime, may all your hits be crits.
So I wanted to talk about this actually a couple weeks ago, but I think I'm gonna have to. There we go. So I wanted to talk about this a couple weeks ago, but just there was other things that got in the way, and that is about the process of reviews. Now, one thing that we often see on the internet are people saying they want more game criticism, and reviewers often get criticized, Dice Tower especially, about our reviews not having enough detailed criticism and analysis and things like that. And you know what? I don't even disagree with that. I certainly know that we don't get down into the nitty-gritty and, say, well, after 50 plays of a game, there's this, and that. I think there definitely is a place for that. But I don't know that there's a place for that from me. When I was a kid, I went and I wanted to get into chess. And this was, the big game. I went and read books about chess. You can use these openings, and if someone uses this opening, then you can do this, and had whole books were written on, whether you should move the knight out first or one of the pawns, and things like that. And I was like, oh, wow, I'm going to get into this. And I found that for me, and it's not for other people, but for me, that was joyless. And for me, that wasn't useful. And sometimes if I can read a review or listen to a criticism about a game, and they go in and they talk about this and that and how it stands for this and that, and I can come out of it saying, but is the game fun? See, I don't really care if the game is quote-unquote important. I guess I shouldn't say I don't care about that. There can be some usefulness for that. And I don't know that I necessarily care about, like deeper thought patterns behind it. It's kind of like when I was in high school and I saw these paintings and they would talk about the meanings behind the paintings and things like that. But I basically just wanted to know, did I like how the painting looked? There was really nothing else about it. I didn't care about the deeper meanings of poems and stories. I just liked reading the stories for entertainment. And I know you can go deeper, and there's allegories and things like that, but sometimes I just want to read a good yarn. And that's how I kind of feel about board games. My goal is to tell you, is the game fun? And I think that there is certainly a lot of people who are looking for that. They're looking to whether the game is fun. I don't feel like each game has to be some important milestone in gaming. I don't think that a game that is quote-unquote important should be treated differently than others. I think that a game should be fun. So let's speak specifically like this War of Mine. Now, this War of Mine's a good game. It especially teaches you the futility of war, or at least the devastating effects that war has on the people who will go through it, and that's great. But for me, this War of Mine isn't really that fun. So it's a useful experience. It's cool. It's interesting as a teaching tool. But when it comes down to it, I can't be like, well, this game is a 9, because at the end of the day, I want to tell people who are watching the review, is the game something fun to play? And I think sometimes that is looked down on. It's like, well, that's what you're looking for in a game? Fun? Yeah, because these are toys. This is entertainment. Can it go deeper? Sure. Games like Fog of Love, this War of Mine, things like that, and, different educational games that are out there, they show that there can be a deeper thing behind the games. And I'm not belittling that. But I say at the end of the day, many people who are watching the reviews want to know, is this a game I should buy? Will I have a lot of fun playing it? And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, this game was a lot of fun, and acting like a kid and being excited when talking about games, because I think that that's an important thing. And I think if we start taking games too seriously, we can take some of the joy out of games. And if we look at, sometimes I do unboxings and other things with Jason. And Jason is like a little kid when he gets to games. He's so excited and so happy. And some people kind of look at him and they almost look down at him for that. And that's nonsense. What's wrong with that joy of opening a box and seeing plastic miniatures? What's wrong with that fun of a theme that you've always wanted to see made into a board game? Or just the ability to bluff and beat someone else in the game? And I don't need to have my favorite games have books written about them. Now, critiques and deeper criticism is fine. Again, other people can do it, and they will do it much better than me. But when it comes down to the Dice Tower, or at least me specifically, Tom Vasel, when I review a game, I'm simply going to say, this game is fun or not fun. That's kind of what the whole thing boils down to. And I don't feel like I'm going to sit there and go, well, I'm not as good of a game you as other people, and oh, the hobby needs more deeper criticism. Maybe the hobby does need some more criticism for the few people who want it, but I think at the end of the day, most people are looking for something that brings us together as families and friends to just have an entertaining time and get along. And I think there's all kinds of benefits to games, teaching skills and yada yada yada. There's all great things. But at the end of the day, I had a wonderful experience with other people, and that is what I'm looking for in a game, and that's what I want to tell you when we review games.
Hello everyone, my name's Annette, and you may know me as Netters Plays. And today on the Play Mechanics, I'm going to go over the game of Word Slam. So Word Slam is a fast-paced party game where you're trying to figure out this word before the other team does. So let me show you a little bit about this game and why I really like it. So here you have the setup for Word Slam. You're going to split off into 2 different groups, and then you're going to pick which difficulty you want to play in. Either beginner, easy, experienced, or even expert. These are the answer cards, which are going to be the clues that you're going to try to give to one another and guess from. Each team will have a clue giver on each side of the table facing one another. They'll draw a card and roll a die. Based on that number, both clue givers will figure out what word they will be playing with. Each clue giver will utilize these word cards. They can be adjectives, verbs, nouns, or preposition or other types of words. So one team is going to yell word and the other team is going to yell slam, and then you turn over the hourglass and begin the game. In order to describe the word party, I can pick different cards from the deck and display them to my team, like big, loud, event, drink, eat, and so on. The cool thing about this game is that you can also listen into your opponent, so you don't want to be too descriptive or be too loud for your opponents to hear your clues. If you're the first team to guess the word, you take the card. The team with the most number of cards at the end of the game wins. So one thing I really enjoy about Word Slam is that you're not constricted to the clues that are given to you by your own teammate. You can also listen into your opponents. The interception of information is great in this game, and it's also fast-paced and entertaining. And that's why I really like Word Slam. Well, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Happy breakfast, everybody. Today I'm going to talk to you about how the theming of deadly diseases can be fun in board games, whether you are the disease or you're that hero character that's trying to save the world. First up is Pandemic, where you are one of those members of that heroic group that set out to save the world. Be it a scientist or a doctor, your aim is to fly around the world, get to cities, save them, cure the viruses. It might sound easy, but every go you're going to turn over a card and a new place is going to have a wave of infection that you've got to sort out. It's obviously an iconic game. Since its release, it's had legacy versions, it's had plenty of expansions or new versions released, but the base game is still phenomenal. In Plague Inc., it's the other way around. You're a virus, and you're going to try and become as deadly as possible, because that's what's going to score you points. You're going to mutate differently from other players, and you might choose to go airborne, so you can travel from airport to airport, while another might choose to go across water on boats. It's an interesting look from the other side, actually trying to be the deadly virus rather than cure it. To top the theming all off, you have the cubes which have the hazardous symbol on, and the die that you roll has sort of like specks of red, sort of blood red on it, as like a virusy sort of bad thing. Anyway, thanks for listening to me waffle on about diseases in board games, and I'm Oliver East, signing out.
Hi everyone. Due to melting glaciers, Iceland is discovering more and more ice caves. And now tourists are finding their way into these beautiful, unforgettable places. But they must be warned. Inside of those icy layers are mysterious gases from forgotten times, and as the ice melts, those toxic gases are released into the room and might have unwanted reactions. And of course, there's always the chance of collapsing, and escaping an icy room might not be as easy as it seems. This week I am playing a game that is all about escaping, where you follow mysterious clues from a long forgotten time. This week I am playing The Unfinished Case of Holmes. The Unfinished Case of Sherlock Holmes is an escape game where you are tasked with investigating the mysterious death of a woman a long time ago. A case that was originally started by good old Sherlock Holmes, but he did not finish it. All the evidence found their way through time to you, and now you are trying to solve it. The game is played with an app that gives you very clear instructions as to which puzzle you're doing and what exactly the answer is that you are looking for. The puzzles are fun, and there is a very easy hint system in case you are stuck, so you will slowly get into the right mindset of the puzzle and slowly eventually we'll be able to finish all the different puzzles. Once you are done, you can pass over the components to a different player, but they will need to register on the website and probably pay a license fee to play the game themselves. But preserving material is a good thing, I would say. I love escape room games, and this one is no exception. I was especially pleased by the fact that when I got the game, I noticed that the makers of the game live right around the corner of my house. So check this one out, another fun escape room, The Unfinished Case of Holmes. My name is Dave Luzan. Thanks for watching.
Hello, my name's Dan and this is Cora, and we're here to talk to you about games for young children. Now, today we're going to talk to you about this game. What is it, Cora?
Stone Age Junior.
Stone Age Junior. Stone Age Junior is a children's version of the classic Euro game, Stone Age. In the game, the players are going to be competing to be the first to build 3 huts. The way they build those huts is by collecting sets of resources by moving around a board. This is a memory and move game rather than a roll and move, so the players move their pawns around by turning over tiles which tells them where to go. Initially, this is going to be completely random, but as the game progresses, you gradually learn where everything is. Well, at least Cora learns where everything is. I generally remain completely clueless. So Cora, what do you think about Stone Age?
I like it because, like, it has tusks and, like, some dinosaurs, and dinosaurs are pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the tusks are some mammoths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's, like, arrows and dogs.
Yeah, the bits in it are very nice, and it's got a nice little memory game element as well, doesn't it? When you're turning over things and moving around.
Yeah.
It's a memory game, a set collection game. If I'm honest, I prefer some of our other kind of memory move games like Lumina and Wizardry to the Power of 3. This isn't one of your favourites, is it?
No, not really.
Not really.
But I like it.
Yeah, it's an okay game. An okay game. Maybe we should do our very first 1 thumb up. What do you think?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, that's going far too extreme. We don't want to be doing that. So we give. What kind of thumbs up are we going to give? Stone Age. We give Stone Age Junior 2 Stone Age thumbs up. Ooga, 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 ooga.
So, there are a bunch of board game challenges. There's the No Shame Challenge, where you reduce all your unplayed games down to 0, like Captain Planet. That is a niche reference. There's the 10x10, the 5x20, the 52 times by the how many Calax. It's just play games a certain amount of times challenges. There's them. But the challenge I'm doing this year, other than the get up before noon and don't spend all day in your pyjama challenge, is it going very well? No, it's not going very well. The challenge I'm doing is the play every game you own at least once. Otherwise, you have to take that game outside and burn it. Or at least, if that game doesn't get played that year, it's gone. You sell it, get rid of it, give it to charity, launch it into space, but it can't stay on your shelves because you don't deserve it, is what I'm saying to myself. You might deserve it. I don't know you. So, it's like almost the end of February, so what challenges did you start the start of this year? And how are they going? Good? Terrible? See ya.
And that's it for this time, folks. Sorry again about the different video and stuff. We'll be back, and I will make sure to have a certain battery with me on the next trip. But we had a fantastic time at Recon. Thank you to each and every one of you. Stephen, who came out and said hi to us. We really appreciate it. We had a great time, such nice people, and it was a wonderful time. So we look forward to that. I'm really excited about some of the stuff we're doing this week. I'm, of course, always excited about everything that's coming out in the future. Don't forget the cruise. Don't forget the Pledge Manager. Lots of things going on with the Dice Tower. Until next time, though, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast.